Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, thank you for tuning in, and if you are a returning subscriber, thank you for always coming back to support the channel. Okay, so last year I made a video on how I relocated to Canada through the spousal sponsorship route. I will leave the link here so you can see the video if you haven't. Then I later found out that that video would only be of help to those who have Canadian spouses or spouses who are permanent resident here in Canada. Yeah, so today I decided to make a step-by-step video that would be beneficial to both single and married people. So I brought in someone, yeah, who would explain in the most simplistic manner how you can kickstart your relocation plans, where to start from, and what to do. The focus will be on the express entry routes because express entry process is starting again on 6th of July, after almost 2 years of being placed on hold. And so my husband landed in Canada through this route, and I will be leaving him to do justice to the express entry process. So the next voice you would hear is his voice. Sit back and enjoy this video. Thank you.
Good afternoon, good evening, wherever it is you're watching from. My name is Olu, and very quickly I would be talking us through a step-by-step method of approaching the whole relocation to Canada thing. I know a lot of people have plans to, relocate themselves or their families to Canada, but they really don't know where to start from. And my intent for this video is to try as much as possible to break it and make it very simple as much as I can, to allow people have that information and know where to start from in this whole Canada journey. The truth is, there are travel agents who are always available to help people, put together all of this information and guide them, but I believe that if you are able to read and write, it's something you can actually do yourself. It's just uh, having access to the right information and, doing knowing what to do at every stage of the whole application process. I'll try as much as possible to make it as simple as possible. And if it's something you want to embark on, I really hope this video would be useful for you. So, without wasting much time, I would like to start by saying the first thing you need to do in order to start this whole relocation process is to have an international passport from your home country. So, I'm going to use Nigeria as a case study. In Nigeria today, I know it takes about 2 to 3 months to get one. You'd probably be spending about 40 to 45,000 naira to get an international passport. And if you do an expedited route, you probably get it much faster. That might cost you more though. But yeah. So once you have an international passport, you would want to head to the express entry page or Canada page. So I bookmarked a couple of websites just to make it easy for me to access in the in this video. So this page is asking, do you want to come to Canada as a skilled immigrant? And so I need to mention very quickly that this route that I'm about to explain is the express entry route for skilled immigrants, and you might want to like come to this page first to find out if you're eligible to apply. Just so you don't waste your time and money. So very quickly, I won't be reading all of this. You can read that, but I'm going to click on the check your eligibility button, and it takes me to this page. It would ask me a few questions. Find out if you're eligible to apply. Which province or territory do you plan to live in? So I'm going to select one of them. I'm going to say, oh, I want to stay in Ontario, and click on next. You need to submit language test results for all programs for the express entry. If English or French is your first language, which language test did you take for your first official language? So at this point, I haven't taken any tests, so I'm just gonna assume that, oh, I'm gonna write IELTS, and I'll be talking about IELTS in the course of this video later on. But right now, just all I want you to know is that there's a language test called IELTS, and it's one of the criteria, that needs to be met for you to be able to complete this relocation process. So I'm going to click on IELTS and click on next. So it says, what date did you take this test? So I'm going to put hypothetical dates here. I'm going to say I took this test in May, say May 1st, for instance, of 2022. Enter the test score for speaking. So if you're going to be writing this test, you are expected to score nothing less than 7 in speaking, reading, and writing, and nothing less than 8 for listening. So I'm just going to be putting those scores here. So I'm going to say speaking I scored 7, writing I scored 8, reading I scored 7, and testing I scored 7. Then I click on next. So it's asking me, do you have other language results? Which language test did you take for your second official language? So I'm going to say none. I only took IELTS. So next. In the last 3 years, how many years of skilled work experience do you have in Canada? I haven't worked in Canada, so I'm going to say none. During this period, which NOC classification level is the most of the experience in? So NOC means National Occupation Classification, and what it basically does is it classifies the different occupation that you have or that exist. So for you to know what NOC you fall into, you can head here very quickly and say, so for instance, let's say you are a software engineer. Say software engineer NOC or NOC code here. So this is 2011 to 2117. So I have this 2173 for software engineers and designers. So I come back here. So it wants to know if it's skill level A, B, or 0. So what I can do is say is knock 2173 A or B or 0. So it tells me 2173 is A. So I'm skill level A. So I can come back here and say, oh, skill level A. And next. In the last 10 years, how many years of skill work experience do you have? It must have been continuous, blah, 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 blah. I say, okay, I have about, say 2 to 3 years of experience. If you're not sure of the NOC for your job, you can find it here. Yeah, but I know it. So if you're not sure of experience, you can find it. Yeah, I have 2 or more years of experience. Do you have a certificate of qualification from a Canadian province? No, I don't. How much money in Canadian dollar will you bring to Canada? Here you can put, so it depends on the number of family members you're coming with. But So are we talking about the money you need to bring later on? But for now, I just would say maybe $16 to $20, $20,000. How many family member do you have? Say, okay, just me. Next, do you have a valid job offer in Canada? No. What is your date of birth? Uh, so I'm gonna put say 1990 January 1, for instance. If you did not earn a Canadian degree diploma, you may need to have a foreign education assessed by an agency. They must show that it's valid and blah 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 and equal to. So just say, okay, I have a master's degree. Next, check all that apply. I have studied full time in Canada for 2 years. No. I have at least 2 years of full time work experience in Canada. No. I have a relative in Canada who is 18 years of age, a citizen or permanent resident of Canada. So this doesn't apply to me. I'll just say none of the above. What is your marital status? I say, okay, let's assume this guy is single. So all of this is for me to know if I'm eligible to even embark on the whole journey or not. So now it's gonna tell me you will need this personal reference code. Blah 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 blah. So it says Express entry. Based on your answers, you appear to be eligible for Express entry. So this is what I want to know. Yeah. So um, it then tells you, yeah, all of the process you need to uh, take in order to open an Express entry profile. So yeah. So that's the first thing you want to do, just to know if you are eligible first. And once you have confirmed that, you can then go to the next step. So I'm going to close this. The next step will be for you to know what your comprehensive ranking system score is. So they call it CRS score. So score comprehensive ranking system. So it's a tool that helps you know what your overall score is based on certain criteria. So it takes into account your educational qualification, your age, your marital status, uh, if you have a sibling in Canada or not, if you schooled in Canada, how many years work experience do you have, and a couple of other information as well. So I'm going to like delve right into it. You can see the URL and you can put it on your system and just play around with it. So I'm going to be putting hypothetical um, answers just so we can see how the score looks like. So here I'm going to do. So it's asking me what is your marital status. So I'm going to assume this guy is single, never married. So whichever one applies to you, you can select. Um, how old are you? I'm gonna say sorry 20, let me say I'm 29 years of age. um then one thing I'd like to say here is if you're below 30, I feel like you're in a good place, but once you go above 30, you lose points for every new age that you clock. So from 30 to 31 you lose 5 points, from 31 to 32 you lose another 5 points, and as you go higher you keep losing 5 points. So I think that's how the CRS tool is designed, and it's simply because Canada is trying to focus on a particular demography of people, young people in particular. So yeah, so the lower your age, the higher your score. Yeah. So it's asking what is your level of education. So you put your highest level of education. So let's say this guy has a master's degree. If you have, say, OND, you can select this. This will give you a higher point than having just bachelor's degree. So, but I'll just assume this guy has master's degree. Um, Have you earned a Canadian degree? No, I didn't school in Canada, so I'm gonna say no. Yeah, because you need to write an IELTS examination, or let me say language test that must not be more than 2 years old. So if your IELTS or whichever language test that you have written is older than 2 years, you might need to rewrite another one. But in this case, I'm going to say my test results are less than 2 years old. So yeah. So it's asking me which of the tests did I write. There are other tests, but I think IELTS is like the popular one, so I'm going to select IELTS. So it's going to ask me speaking, listening, reading, writing, what are my scores? Just like I said in the last video, you're expected not to score nothing less than 7 in every one of them and nothing less than 8 for listening. The other ones you can score 7 and above. So I'm going to just select the minimum. I mean, the higher you score here, the higher you score, but yeah, selecting the minimum for the sake of this video. So do you have other language results? I'm going to say no. I've only written IELTS. In the last 10 years, how many years of skilled work experience in Canada do you have? I want to assume that at the time when you're feeling this, you're probably still in Nigeria and don't have any work experience in Canada. So I'm going to say none or less than a year. Then it's saying in the last 10 years, how many total years of foreign skilled work experience do you have? Um, if you have 3 years and above, I kind of feel like you're in a good place. You get more points. So I'm going to choose 3 years for this guy. Do you have a certificate of qualification from Canada province? I'm going to say no. Do you have a valid job offer? Nope. Do you have a nomination certificate from a province? Nope. Do you or your spouse or common law partner have at least one brother or sister living in Canada who is a citizen or PR? No. So yeah. So I've answered all the questions asked. So I'm just going to like click on the calculate your score button and it's going to bring out my CRS score. So once I click on it, scroll all the way down and I have my comprehensive ranking system formula grand total, which brings me to 469. Not a bad score. Not a bad score. So there is so at this point I'm going to explain the fact that every 2 weeks there is a draw that is rolled out, at least before the pandemic. I think every Wednesday there's a score rollout or a draw roll, and the score for every draw you have to match it with your CRS and see if it's lower than your CRS score. So once a draw is rolled out and is lower than your CRS score, you definitely get invited to come and apply for Canada application. So, but if the score that was rolled out is higher than your CRS score, you won't get an invitation. Let me see if I could find where the scores gets where you can find the scores when they get rolled out. Just a second. Canada draw 20. Let's see, 2022. So most of this information are available online. Yeah. So this is the last. Okay. So this is currently showing the number of people in the pool, not particularly the round of invitation. Let's see, or particularly the score. See forward text up. So yeah, I'm trying to get a list of, so you can get this information online. So minimum CRS score. So I mean, for the past 1 year plus now, um, if you are aware, the express entry federal skilled worker route has been on hold, and it's been provincial nomination all along. So that's why you're seeing all of this. But if I go all the way back to 2020, let's see, 2020, I guess, all the way back to, I think the last one was December 2020. Yeah, express entry draws. So yeah, so I mean, see, I think the last one in December was 468. So I mean, if a draw was 468, and my CRS score is 469, I would definitely get an ITA invitation. That's invitation to apply ITA, which is a good thing. So yeah, so that's the second thing you should try to do to have an idea of what your CRS score would be, and have an idea of what you need to do as well to boost your score. If you need to max, if you need to max out your, because you could actually improve this. If you need to improve your speaking, prepare very hard for your test, so you can score higher. So if I go back here now and recalculate, I should get something higher. So I'm having 481. So yeah, so it gives you a rough idea of what your score is and what you need to improve on. The next thing you want to do is start your WES processing. So your WES simply stands for World Educational, World Education Services. So you come here and you need to open an account here. Um, so I have my own account right here. So you log in, and once you open an account, they would need you to send your credentials to them. I think you're allowed to send your what's it called, your certificates to them directly, but for your transcript, your school will need to send your transcript to us for them to be able to evaluate your educational qualification and know what's the equivalent, you know, side by side with Canada educational system. So yeah, so this takes roughly about 3 months, 2 to 3 months. It depends on how quick or how fast your school is able to send your school documents or your certificate and transcripts to them. Um, so this would cost about, I think last time I checked, well, let me confirm. So how much does it cost to evaluate transcripts? Was um, let's check this. Yeah, I think it cost about this 240 Canadian dollars. I don't know how much that is in naira. I should be like so if you do this times times 450, 460. Yeah, so you can know how much it is in naira. Um, yeah, so this will be the next thing you want to do. And once you start this, you can also start preparing for your IELTS. So for IELTS, there are two major bodies that I know that um, offer the exam. There's the IDP. This is their website, and there is British Council. So yeah, this is IDP. I really don't know what the difference is between both of them, but I know there was a time that one was cheaper than the other. But right now, I feel like they are like same uh, price, so same the cost the same um, amount, for the exam. So here you have 83,000, and let's go to the British Council website. So, where are you? I think this is it. Yeah, British Council website. Also cost 83. So there are different types of IELTS. There's the academic IELTS, and there's the general training IELTS. Um, and I can see some other ones like academic for UKVI. I don't know what that is. But yeah, the one you want to write is this um, IELTS general training in center paper or computer, whichever. So you are able to come here and find the test date and do all of this blah blah blah. So it cost 83,000. So that's the next thing you want to do. And as much as possible, try and prepare very well for this test. It's divided into four parts. As you might have seen earlier, there's the speaking, listening, reading, and writing. Um, and you need to really prepare for those um, four sections of the exams, just so you are able to score up to seven for reading, writing, and speaking, and at least eight for listening. So yeah, that's it for the IELTS exam. And another thing you might also want to start considering at this point is the proof of fund. So for everyone that intends to come to Canada, Canada expects you to have certain amount of money in your account. And this I know could be a bit of challenge for young Nigerians or young people who are still trying to also their way, and find their feet, and also interested in this uh, relocation journey. But I mean, it is what it is. But the good thing is, Canada allows your parents to help you with the POF. So if you don't necessarily have to be the one that has the money. Um, your parents could like do like a gift deed, into your account, or transfer the money into your account and write a letter saying um, they are the ones dashing you that money for the sake of the um, IRCC application or express entry application. Um, you could also do like an you could use an investment certificate. You could use that as well, to as proof of fund. So I'm going to quickly check what the proof of fund is today. It changes every now and then. So if you go to this website, you would see proof of funds, skilled immigrant express entry. If I scroll all the way down, so it depends on the number of family that is applying for this program. That is what would tell you what or how much you need to have in your account. So if you are a family of one, you need to have this amount of money in your account. If you're a family of two, you have this family of three, like that, like that. Family of seven should have about 35,000, in your account. And you must have a document that you can submit that shows as a proof, that you have that money sitting right in your account. So yeah, so at this point, when you're preparing for your IELTS, you should also, start looking at how you would be able to get this money, and make it, sit in your account. And there are certain ways you can prove it. You can use your statement of account, you can use a letter from a bank, you can use a gift deed from a parent, and there are other ways of proving it. So yes, after that, the next thing you want to do once you've written your IELTS and you have passed, you know, you've had eight in listening, at least eight in listening, and at least seven in writing, reading, and speaking. And you've also done your WES and you've received your um, evaluation reports. Those things are ready. Then the next thing you want to do is to create an express entry profile. And how to do that is to come here, do cic.gc.ca. So it brings you to this place. It asks you if you want to use English or French. I choose English. And you come here to create an account to apply online. You come here. So you say, I don't have an account. You register. And you just follow the step-by-step process of, creating. So you want to use register with GCK. I have an account here, so yeah. So if you don't have an account, you sign up, do all of those stuff, put in your username and all of those stuff for you to be able to create an account. It would ask you a couple of questions. It will ask you what you score uh in your IELTS, what's your West report number, because I think every West report comes with an identification number or a unique number. So to ask you for that, to ask you what province would you like to come to, to ask you all of those questions that we answered during the CRS evaluation that we did at the beginning of this video. So you have to fill all of that again. And once you're done with all those filling, it will then put you in a pool. So they call it pool, but it's basically you opening an account. It's just like opening a Facebook account. Then it puts you in a pool of other people who have opened accounts as well. And from there, whenever the draw happens, you get an email, which is referred to as invitation to apply. You get an invitation to apply on your profile, and you could get an email notifying you that you have a message or a new item on your profile as well. So that is where the whole journey starts from. So once you get an ITA, you will then have to submit a couple of documents, police document. They call it police certificate. Submit police certificate, you submit your proof of fund, you submit your IELTS results, you submit your WES report, you submit your medicals, you submit your work reference from your office. That's what's going to show how many years of work experience you have. You submit all of those stuff, and once you submit, they would respond to you with an AOR. Full meaning is acknowledgement of receipts, saying, oh, we have received your application request. Then you would have to pay certain fees. I think they call it RFPF. Let's see. Yeah, RF. So you pay RPRF. Say RPRF fee. Yeah. So your application process fee, AT and right of permanent resident fee. So you pay a total of 1,365 Canadian dollars. So yeah. So if it's just you, but if you include your spouse or partner processing fee, so I guess you pay this for your spouse as well. So I mean, once you get to that stage, you've gotten your ITA, you do your medicals. So you could in Nigeria, I know you could do your medicals with Q Life, Q Life Family Clinic, and you could also do with let's see, who's this other people, IOM. You could do with IOM. I just said that now. I just said this. So I think IOM. I think they're in Ikeja also. Ikeja. I think they're in Ikeja and they're in Lekki. Yeah, IOM. So yeah. So yeah, you could do your medicals with them. And yeah, once you get to this stage, once you do all of those things and you submitted, you get an AOR. After about 1 month or 2 months, you get invited for biometrics. That one you would go to Lekki VFS office. VFS office, Lekki. Yeah. So you go to this office to do your biometric capture. I think this is the address. To do your biometric capture, and from there you just have to wait for I think about 4 to 6 months for them to approve your application. Once it gets approved, they tell you to send your passport to um, a VFS. I think the closest is Accra. So yeah, you can send your passport through VFS, this same office, or you can send it directly to Accra. It depends on whichever one you want. Then that's where they get to stamp your visa, and yeah, you can buy your ticket, and the rest is history. So I hope this video is pretty explanatory. I don't know if I've made much sense, but if you have additional questions, feel free to ask in the comment section. I'll try as much as possible to still hang around and see if I could, respond to some of those questions. Wish you guys all the best.